We're recording now.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm good. Alhamdulillah. Life has been good. Winding down from New York, moving inshallah in like 3 days, doing the thing.
You seem a little haggard this morning.
No, I'm good. I had breakfast. I made us turkey burgers for breakfast, which is insane. But
I believe any food can be eaten any time of day.
we just have like turkey burgers, and I'm like, when am I gonna make these before we leave? So I'm like, we're having turkey burgers for breakfast. So we ate them on English muffins. So
You know what I had for breakfast?
what?
A mini mango cake.
Yum. Sounds
But like
delicious.
when it's a mini cake, it's like a serving of 4. It's a whole cake.
Oh, hell yeah. Slay. Do you have a picture?
I have it. I have like a fourth of it left in the fridge. Maybe I'll go pull it out at some point.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. I love mango anything. And it's the season. So does it have
It's not
actual mangoes?
No, but like it's a nice like mango puree, like
Yeah.
jelly kind of thing. I think it's lovely.
Yeah. That
I mean,
sounds
it's $10.
sounds lovely. Lovely. How are you? How's life?
Good. I mean, I think I applied for an apartment, but I half-assed it. When I was like doing the application, I was like, Snooki on the computer when she's like, "Oh my God, this is gonna be
Yeah.
so bad." Like, I don't know, like I hate apartment applications. Like, I can pay, I can afford this. Like, I just feel like by virtue of like my pay stub and like the fact that I've been paying significantly more rent for longer should
Yeah.
just be like, okay, approved, girl. Like,
Right.
why do you need 3 to 4 references? Why do you need to like all this stuff? Like, so
Oh, annoying.
anyway, we'll see if that was a mistake or not, because then maybe they'll just I feel like if they want clarification, they'll just ask me because it's not that competitive in Winnipeg. But then the other part of me is like, they could also just reject me and be like, we're just gonna wait for somebody less stupid to
No,
fill out the application.
they're gonna approve it right away. I think it's just a formality.
Well, to be honest, honestly, I don't really care. There's a lot of apartments, and I kind of decided on this one kind of haphazardly. So if I get rejected, it's my sign from Allah to
Yes.
be patient and
Thank
look
you.
more carefully, because I went on the upper end of my budget to get kind of
Hell yeah.
the luxuriousness that I wanted.
Hell yeah.
So I don't know if it's meant to be. It's meant to be. I'm not concerned. But I've been having fun going to parties. I've been at the beach. Oh, I got a new fucking tattoo.
Oh shit.
I
Oh
have 2
shit.
tattoos.
What is that? Who is she?
Who is she? Is the question. Comment below.
Is it Tokyo Tony?
Girl, fuck you. No. It's little. I mean, right now it's bleeding a lot. Like there's a lot of
Yeah.
ink up in there, and then so it's Little Kim, like
Yeah.
D Space Little Kim.
Okay. You
And I
know,
also
I
got
don't
on
think
my
I know
phone.
what Lil Kim looks like. I'm gonna Google it.
Look up
Oh
Kim
my
in the '90s.
God.
Oh,
Yeah, 90s. Okay.
in the
The
'90s.
Flay, holy shit, she looked so different.
Yeah,
Wow.
but anyway, she suffered a lot of people being very racist towards her. Her career was based off her sexuality, and as a black woman earlier on, when it was a white woman's game,
Yeah.
or at that point in time.
Yeah.
Like people would always tell her she would look better if she's lighter. She also had daddy issues and would date men. And then this isn't her fault in any way, but like she just got several like broken noses and like like got nose jobs because of those. So like
Jeez.
people make fun of her, but like I don't know. I feel like she gave a lot of herself to the world, and you know what? She's happy.
Yeah, she's a product of her own.
And you know what? Some people honestly, it's kind of like in a way, the feline snatched plumped look is kind of cunty in a way. Like
Yeah.
we make fun of it sometimes, but like I don't know. I feel like in other cases, like it's just gender affirming surgery.
Right. It's how she feels euphoric in her skin.
Yeah.
That's all.
She has a daughter, she's happy, and now she's forever immortalized on my arm.
Hell yeah. Nice.
And I also got some script on my butt that says, "Let me sit with that."
That's so funny.
I like it. I like a good double entendre.
That's cute.
So that's what I've been up to.
Hmm. Yeah. I also like I feel like this past 2 weeks has been super, super busy, like back to back. It's obviously fun, but at the same time like draining because I'm saying goodbye to a lot of people as I'm like getting ready
Oh.
to leave.
You're a
It's like
weeping soul. You're having a pity party.
basically it's been like work and then immediately after work, pity party, and then work
Yeah.
and then pity party. So I finished my last day of work on Friday. Oh, and was it this Friday or last Friday? I think it was last Friday was my Laylat set. And it was amazing. I don't know if we've spoken since then, but it was
Main
so much
stage
fun.
diva. No, we didn't.
Yeah, it was so much fun. I had so much fun. It was great. My mix for that day is on SoundCloud. Go check it out.
Oh, we're gonna charge you for the promo. We pay for advertising slots, cost money on this podcast.
But yeah, that's basically it. I'm excited to move, actually. I feel ready. I'm ready
The
for
next
new
chapter. And you know what I think of it as? It's like, I'll put it in your perspective, in your terms. Like you have, you know, you could live in New York successfully. And it's like, now is the time to, look at a different place and find, the beauty in it, or find how you
Right. Right.
challenge yourself.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good point. I guess, yeah, if you live in New York and you enjoy it, you should probably be able to survive and live anywhere and thrive,
Yeah.
not just live. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
That's how I feel about living in the city. I'm like, I've done this. I can do it again if I need to and down the line, but
yeah,
I'm excited to slow down.
yeah, 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 yeah.
I have something else to tell you,
Tell me.
but you have to not judge me.
Okay. I already didn't judge you over the little Kim tattoo.
That's not even something to ever judge me over. Whoever thinks this is a stupid tattoo, like, you need psychiatric help. You need to love yourself more. Like you're projecting on something that is unequivocally like the most aesthetic thing I've ever seen.
Right, right.
But I just wanted to tell you that I'm gay.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about that. I don't
And
like,
that's why the podcast is going on summer break.
yeah, I can't do this anymore. You're a faggot? Really?
I wouldn't put it in those terms.
No, yeah. Well, I have something to tell you as well.
What
Please
is it?
can't judge me.
No promises.
I'm also gay. What is?
What is Allah gonna say?
God knows.
Have you spoken to a sheikh before?
About my queerness, I have not, but I've spoken to a psychiatrist which we've talked about before, and he was basically a sheikh, and he
Yeah.
wanted to suck my dick. So no, he
Did
didn't.
he really?
No, no,
Oh.
he didn't. It would be so funny if he was just like, huh?
So
Well,
anyway,
yeah.
this is how you prevent gayness from spreading.
Yeah, I need to.
Oh Jesus. So that's a good segue into our topic, right?
Yeah, yeah. We are talking about coming out, being
Matt,
gay.
this is purely fan service
Yeah,
because Ali and I are gonna be very busy and want to enjoy our summers, and we actually lose money doing this podcast, believe it or not.
right. This is truly a joy. Like, it's a joy for us.
I pay like I get charged every month for the olive people.
Yeah, no, this is truly has been like just a passion project, and we do it because it's enjoyable, engaging with the community and such. So
Yes.
we are going on a little hiatus, and inshallah
But we
we'll
set
be back.
ourselves.
Yeah,
Inshallah, we will be back. We plan on coming back.
yeah,
Not as frequently, but
yeah, yeah. We'll see.
we
What
have a
happens.
no. What do you mean? We'll see. I'm locked into a year of paying for a video editing software. Like,
Yeah, might as well take advantage.
we paid a year for the podcasting service too.
Right,
Fact.
right,
So
right, right.
let's use this investment.
Yes, yes. So
Don't get lazy. Hashtag put in the comments below, Ali, don't get lazy.
Ali, don't get lazy. That should be the title of this podcast. But anyway, so the actual topic is coming out. So Khalil has prepared some stuff for us. So I'm gonna pass it over to you.
Oh, okay. She said, let's get this the fuck over with.
I have places to be and things to do. No, I'm good. I'm good. Yeah.
I'm just gonna get to the top of my thing. Okay.
Yeah, take your time.
So, what did coming out mean to you before you ever did it, and how has that definition changed for you now?
Oh my God, this is a good question because before I came out, like before I, I guess when I first was like, oh shit, I am gay was the first time I said out loud. So then I thought coming out meant like the solution to everything. Like if I were to fully be out and gay, that means I am happy and satisfied and everything is rainbows and sunshine and like, beauty, blah, blah, blah. And then I realized I'm like, oh, actually, once you reach inner peace and you're like validating yourself, you realize coming out is kind of a sham. Like there's nothing cornier than coming out on coming out day. I'm stealing that from Trixie. She said that. Because I feel like just be who you are and live your life. You don't need to, it doesn't have to be a statement. It doesn't have to be this big thing. If you love yourself, that's all that matters.
You tour with that.
Hell yeah. Thank you.
That
Thank you.
I feel like that perfectly encompasses a lot of what I've been thinking about lately in terms of many different identities is when you develop the self identities and labels are like a stepping stone to like self-actualization. And then when you become confident in yourself, yeah, you realize that it's like, I don't need these things anymore because I am who I am. And like at first, maybe those things helped me understand why I was different from most people,
Right.
right? Because in society, like people don't understand the labels that they subscribe to if they just so happen to end up in like the statistical majority.
Yeah.
So then they don't really see how their labels really kind of like you subscribe to those labels and then those labels subscribe to you and it's like a feedback loop. And I think that like, I mean, there's a lot of white gays who get trapped into that, but I think as queer Palestinians, we're like doubly ostracized. So we really think in depth about our identity and what that means and who's it is important to. And it's like the queerness part isn't necessarily real.
Absolutely. Real.
It's like, yeah, I always say I'm Palestinian first because, that's a place that has a history, that has a language that means something. But like who I have sex with is like fluid and changing and like gender's a whole other thing. So it's just like, you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, if I slept with a woman, no one would say I was straight. I'm forever gonna be like gay anyway. Like it's like it's really not about who you sleep with. So it's just like to be damned with it. Like I know what I like. I know where I stand.
Yeah. 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 I have 2 points. You were
But
like,
coming
go
coming
ahead.
out though,
Yeah.
I would say I don't know what happened, but for me it was very much a switch. I was just kind of like, okay, I just knew I was like not down to marry a woman. I was like, this is no way possible. Like that I could like satisfy the status quo of what was being presented to me. And I just accepted that really fast. And then I switched to like very pragmatic, like, okay, now how do I survive? How do I like get to like the silver bullet solution that you were talking about is when I'm like, this is no longer an issue and I no longer have to constantly perform. But then once I got to that, I realized that that wasn't even necessarily my problem, which is kind of a mind fuck.
Yeah. 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 What do you mean by that? Do you mean like you realize that being gay isn't that big of a deal?
It was more of like I just rather than the problem was I wasn't out to my parents. It was I didn't have the confidence enough to set the boundaries with my parents.
Yeah.
I mean, which is not fair to ask a child to like grow into with their parents. But like looking back at like the real crux of the issue is that because it's not really any of their business
Right.
who I'm sleeping. Like I didn't I like you know what I mean? Like I could have just there could have been a lot of different scenarios, but ultimately like I don't think coming out
Yeah. Yeah.
is a thing in terms of like how people position it. Like, oh, my family knows.
Right.
Like how you were saying, if you love yourself, that's it.
Period. That's all that matters. I'm curious what you think about this. But recently I was hanging out with an ex-coworker. We are still very close friends. And she currently works in Michigan. And she was saying how one of her coworkers is gay and how some of their old crusty bosses like still say inappropriate things to him, like, oh, when are you getting married to a woman and stuff like that? And he just kind of like takes it because he doesn't want to make any trouble, but that it really affects him. And I thought about it and I'm like, why? Okay, look, not to say that obviously like hurtful comments hurt, but I think homophobia is not that upsetting to me. Like, I think to me, anti-Palestinian rhetoric and like pro-Zionist speech is more like hurtful than if somebody were to call me like a faggot or even like to other me because of my gayness. I feel like I'm like, okay, yeah, and that goes back to the whole like, once you're secure in your own self, who cares what other people think? I don't need you to think like me.
I think the important piece to that though is like how protected from violence you are. So
Right.
obviously, like literally, there's zero protection for Palestinians.
Right.
And the protections for queer people are like more significant and I mean limited depending on who you are, where you are, and how you present and all that. But I feel more emboldened as to stand up for myself as a queer person because it's like the fuck,
Yeah.
like what are you gonna do? Come and kick my ass?
Right.
But in some places like Berlin, for example, that is like a real um issue and where like you do have to uh like police yourself in order to be safe or you have to potentially like be prepared to fight a bunch of people,
Yeah. You mean
which is
for your
like
pro-Palestine stuff, you mean?
no, I mean for
Or
being like visibly queer
oh, really? I didn't know that about
in
Germany.
certain areas in Berlin, um like taking the metro, walking, like I was assaulted, attacked, spat on, yelled at.
That's
And
gross.
I've heard stories and I mean experienced it, but I've heard stories of much worse
Mm.
in terms of like stabbing, being beaten up and stuff like that. So I think it's like, protect your physical safety first,
Yeah.
always. And that's tough to do because it's like you're regressing on the Maslow's hierarchy
Right.
of needs. But the difference is like it's easier to just pretend you're not gay than to literally not be, a person in Palestine, a person in Lebanon, a person in Iran, a person in wherever the fuck America and Israel decide to bomb. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. That's the thing. I'm just like, my priorities have shifted. And I think
Yeah.
like my
We've
need,
regressed.
yeah. Yeah. In certain ways we have, but in certain ways, I think individually we've advanced. As horrible as what's happening in like the Middle East region, I feel like it's made me more confident in my identity because I'm like, yeah, I don't associate myself with this place that I'm in currently, and I don't like the government here, and I'm very homesick, and like that kind of thing. So, if anything, it emboldens me to feel more like proud of my otherness. I don't want to be
Yep.
the same as you.
And I hope it continues to embolden people. I think like the next step is like wondering, does it embolden you to the point where you're willing to put some actual like risk on the table, because I like know a lot of people who are organizers, and like I obviously like go to protests and demonstrations and I have my own forms of resisting. And when it comes to especially to direct action, like when the cops come, like how scared are you? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
and like for a lot of people, like there's so many different things that could be on the line, financial, taking care of other people, your own health. Like, I don't know. I'm not saying like everyone should put their lives on the line, but like obviously there's a
Yeah.
like when they point the gun at you, which is a very easy thing that they could do at any point in time. Like I personally think I recently reposted a thing on my story where it's talking about like no what popular opinion doesn't fucking matter. They'll just they'll do whatever they want regardless of what the majority people think. They need maybe like 20-30% of people to agree with them, and then they just need to control the men with the guns and like the drones and the missiles, and like they'll do whatever. Not to be say it's completely fucking hopeless, but in order to stop that, I don't know how organizers and people who are organizing against this, I don't know how a couple of us don't put our bodies on the line in a significant way.
Yeah. Yeah. There definitely has to be sacrifice for that.
Like Mahmoud was in prison for how long?
3 months. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to say anything to tip off the CIA, but
Right. Right. I feel like there are definitely many, many ways that you can like so in Islam, jihad means to like I know that sounds if we're going there.
heard this.
We're going there.
Had the struggle.
Jihad doesn't mean what mainstream media thinks it means. It just means kifah, like you're doing your best in the name of a greater like utopia. You know, like you're doing what you can. And if it's in getting your degree, if it's in like building a business, if it's in whatever, blah blah blah, all these things are also jihad because you're also like putting in time, efforts, and money to advance not just you but your community.
Posters.
Yeah.
Also, like literally, I don't know. Like you have free speech. Like I feel like I've seen people with certain symbols of things that I don't like, and I've said to people in public, like, "Go fuck yourself."
Right.
Like even if you feel like confrontation sometimes is meaningless, I think it's like as a society, if we have the numbers to band together and make these people feel like shit in every space they go into, that's a small win. And like that could change that. I don't know. I hate to be the person, but it's like the small things lead to the big things.
No, it does.
What other answers do I have for you?
Yeah, I exactly. I think that you actually have free will to do whatever you want. So like in John recently like graduated from his thing and at the like after party or whatever where there was like drinks and stuff, I was talking to some of his coworkers and one of them voted for Andrew Cuomo in New York. And I straight up just started like ripping him a new one, just explaining to him why that is a dumb idea. And like you as especially as a Democrat, and I think me like 2 years ago would never have done that. I would have just been like, oh, whatever, and just like ignored. But I was actually like, no, this is a teachable moment because you're actually a fucking dumbass for doing this. Like I literally was like, just explaining to him that Andrew Cuomo is a rapist. It's somebody who, I mean, I don't know if you know a lot about him or New York politics.
That's familiar, yeah.
But he's also a rich white kid who doesn't actually know what it's like to be a New Yorker.
Yeah.
So, and also he's being endorsed and paid for by Israeli lobbyists and has gone on to say like very much like prioritizing Israel in his speech over New York itself. Okay. Whereas Zohran Mamdani, which different candidate, has very clearly established, you know, like Palestine as his like compass and whatever and blah, blah, blah. And so his counterpoint was like, well, I'm not just voting for one issue. And I was like, actually, one issue trickles down to all the other things you've described.
Don't New Yorkers have a ranked choice ballot too?
They do, but
that's even more egregious.
You're supposed to not rank Cuomo. Like, that's the thing. You're supposed to not even include him in the ballot because he's that horrible. You know what I mean? Like,
but did this person rank?
He ranked him 1. He ranked the other guy 2.
That's disgusting. And I feel like our listeners probably already politically align with us and are like aware of like the whole situation. But did you have a point? With confrontation.
It's just that being able to like actually be like, actually, I disagree with you, and here's why. I feel like a lot of Palestinians maybe feel like we need to be quiet, or used to feel that way. Like we can't really share our political opinions because it's so unpopular. But I think now is the time.
They will come after you. That's what I mean. Like, are you willing to put your job on the line? Are you willing to, depending on your status, put like your status on the line? Are you willing to do you know what I mean? Are you willing to lose friends? Are you willing like, who are you willing to piss off and when and where? As
I'm
someone who loves to
100%.
piss
Yeah.
people off,
Yeah.
it shit will hit the fan and it will, like it doesn't feel good.
Right. 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 Yeah. I'm so ready to lose friends over the shit. Like, I don't
Yeah.
care.
Are you ready to go to jail?
No, that I'm still not. I'm still not there.
So, and, sometimes I feel like then in that case, it's like, yeah, be strategic about your
Yeah.
confrontation.
Yeah.
Me personally, I'm definitely someone with a lot less to lose, so I definitely, like, feel a lot more emboldened and reckless, like, I'm out there graffitiing, I'm out there, like I was at, like, an encampment last summer, and I literally, like, was pushing people because like, these random Zionist agitators came, and it was just, like, insane, like, what they'll do to try to piss you off, and I was like, "Honestly, I will play this game."
Yeah. 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 Yep. Yep. Yep.
Um, but you know what I mean? Like, no one has the run right answer, and I feel like you just have to evaluate your situation.
Right. Everyone.
And I think that this brings this back to coming out in
Yeah.
terms of if you are a person who desires to talk about and be like open about your sexuality or just like even just dress in like a queer way that signals a queer way because you like that aesthetic and that makes you feel whole and seen because like honestly without my earrings without my tattoos I would feel so sad
Mm.
and so like not myself
Yeah.
it would feel like very dysphoric all of a sudden I think so I can kind of empathize with that but like at the same time if you're a listener in Saudi Arabia like girl
You got to do what you got to do.
you got to do what you
Yeah.
got to do and
Yeah.
life's not fair and you have to really accept that fact.
Yeah. I agree with Khalil. I think there's no one playbook that everyone needs to follow. You have to assess your own situation, come to the realize, like, find peace. Just find your own peace, find a way to deal with it. Don't try to, the minute that you're trying to control how other people feel to make yourself happy, that's a problem. You know what I mean? You can never derive your own happiness from other people's reactions. You need to find your own happiness, and then other people can react however they want.
But at the same time, when the time comes to collectively organize, like, make sure you're tapped in.
Yeah.
That's like, cause it's like, yeah, go find your peace, go, but at the same time, like, I feel like if everyone were to like pour into the streets and start rioting, you don't want to be the person who's looking for peace.
Right.
You want to be like, with the people at all times.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. Um, did you come out to yourself more than once? Like in layers, or was it all at once?
It was definitely layers. So initially I thought, oh, this is just a phase. I for sure am going to get married to a woman and blah, blah, blah. Like, even I used to trick myself and I used to like reward myself also when I like am jacking off. I would, I know who, I would be thinking of a man to help me get to that point. And then right as I'm about to, I'll switch it out for a woman in my head. And then I'll be able to, because I'm basically there. And then I'll like feel like, like I am straight.
That's
But
the most
but
mental
yeah,
gymnastics.
yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
That's like girl math.
Yeah, no, literally, I was like, looks like I'm straight. Like it's so crazy.
Lying on the "Am I gay" quiz.
No, literally, like yeah, fully was in denial. And then bit by bit, I think, and with honestly, like, again, my friends never like pressured me into being one thing or another. So I
Yeah.
think they just like were accepting of whatever I said I was. And then bit by bit, as I started realizing, oh shit, this isn't changing. And actually, I hate vagina. And actually, like, I want to be with a man and blah, blah, blah. So it was layer by layer. Like, and I didn't even think it was possible for me to be in a relationship with a man until like my early 20s. Like, I thought there was no future for me in that regards, that I would always have to like conform to what my parents wanted me to do and that I would just have to get over that. You know what I mean? Like, I thought I would have to marry a woman and just like pretend. But then I realized actually there are options. There's always a choice. Like there's
At what
always,
age did you realize there is a choice?
I think maybe like 21, 22, 23, 21. But I think when I first moved to the States, which was 23, that was when I was like, I knew I wanted to date a man. Like I knew I wanted to be with a man. I knew that.
Subconsciously, that's why you went to the States?
I mean,
Was that the driver?
so I guess I may have said this before, but my biggest reason for like trying to get to the States was to be queer and gay. Like that was my main driver, which is so funny because now I'm like, I'm so glad I had that fire under my feet because otherwise I would not have worked as hard as I did to make it to where I am now to be able to come here. Like if me now was in the Middle East back then, I would have just been like, I'm staying here. I'm
Yeah.
staying there. Like I would not have tried as hard as I did. But yeah, the main reason was because it was life or death for me. Like I thought if I stayed in the Middle East, I would not be able to live a life that makes me happy, blah, blah, blah. But obviously that's an exaggeration.
But honestly, sometimes it's just I feel like needing that experience. Like I needed to go away to develop that confidence.
Yeah.
Because I feel like honestly, I would have got my ears pierced in front of even if I didn't tell my parents were gay, I would have started getting tattoos. I would have got my ears pierced. I would have just been doing what I was doing. And I would have just been like, and what about it? Think what you want to think.
Right.
And it still would have, they still probably would have had major issues and falling out.
Right.
But I just don't think I would have been strong enough to do that at that time.
Yeah. 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 I think everyone needs a chance to like explore who they are in their own space, not in their parents' space where it's already like, it's their space. You know what I mean? So you need to like leave the nest, figure out who you are, and then you can come back if that's what you want.
Go into the darkness so you can see your own light.
Yeah.
But for me, I feel like I don't know. I never did any weird mental. Well, okay, I was like fully jerking off to gay porn, being like, oh, I don't know what this is. Like,
Mm.
I hope like one day. I just thought it was like maybe a phase. I was doing the like making dua, like hoping it would change, but like not really like and entertaining ever. Like watching, like I mean, I would try to like look at a woman. I'd be like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
I don't get it. Like I never really like did any of that like switching. But then as soon as I graduated high school, I was kind of just like, nah, who am I kidding?
Right. Right.
I was like, this shit's not changing. And also because I guess I just was getting less and less religious as I was just like getting older and seeing how the world worked. I was like, this is not, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, this doesn't make much sense to me. So then I was pretty able to just like shift from like, okay, I'm gay. Now, how do I be gay and
Right.
survive? Because I didn't have the confidence
Yeah. Yeah.
at that time.
Did anyone ever call you out when you weren't ready? Like if somebody has like a friend or something, then like, girl, you're gay.
Well, I had rumors and stuff. But the thing is, I feel like I had enough confidence and I was confrontational enough to like kind of squash that shit or like deal with it. Like people would ask and I'd just be like, no. And they'd be like, okay, he said no.
Yeah.
And like, I guess that was maybe my defense mechanism was to go into like, well, I also have a quick wit and I'm funny. So it's just like, I could either like rip you to shreds, make you laugh, or I had other friends that because of my relationships, like people couldn't really like come for me like that.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
But then also at the same time, I was a bitch.
Right. And as you are now.
And you know what? And now everyone wishes more people were bitches earlier on.
I think so. Honestly, I had an opposite experience where people's comments used to destroy me. Like if somebody called me out, like being like, you're being a girl, or like they'd make fun of the way I said something by like emulate, it would destroy me. I
Yeah.
would just like, yeah, but now obviously that's different, but it's a realization.
Didn't your parents drill into you if someone does something to you, you go 10 times harder?
So my mom, I think actually where she fucked up in her helicoptering, one time I remember I was maybe 6 years old or somewhere between 6 and like 11. Elementary, like or early middle school. I came up to her and I was like, somebody called me gay. I told her that. It was like me and a girl got in an argument, and she's like, "Well, you're gay."
She clocked your
She
teeth.
clocked my tea. And I remember it upset me then, but it didn't upset me a lot. But then I told my mom, and my mom's reaction, like she just freaked out. And so she even like got the principal involved. She had the principal bring me and that girl to sit down and for that girl to apologize to me. And I think that kind of reaction is not good because you're making it seem like this is a big deal, like this is a problem. Instead of my mom being like, who gives a shit what that bitch thinks?
Yeah.
You know, instead of being like, her words have no power. You like do whatever you want, you know,
But
like
you know what my parents would say? They'd be like, next time you go see that person and tell him his like mom's a crack whore.
right.
That's the type of shit my parents were putting into my head.
Yeah, yeah. Which honestly, it might be even healthier than what my mom was doing. I think
Yeah,
oh,
because your mom kind of protected you rather
yeah.
than empowered you.
Exactly. Like she made me feel like it was something to be ashamed of. It was like a bad thing. Like I should never, you know what I mean? So I think truly as a child, the smallest things that parents or adults say really do impact you. So be careful out there.
Yes.
If you're a parent, don't fuck it up.
Don't, oh my God. I think it's so, don't comment on your child's body ever. you
Yeah.
Fucking weirdo.
Yeah.
My family loved to do that shit. It was weird as fuck. I don't know why.
Yeah, my
I don't
parents
know
did
why
that
it's
too.
weird.
Like
It's like,
literally how
like, especially when I got older and I'd see it happening to my younger cousins, I would literally get so fucking mad at my mom. I'd literally just be like, you're creepy as fuck. Stop talking about a 7-year-old body.
Yeah. I may have said this on the podcast before, but one time my uncle to his grandchild was like, Kun zeleme, be a man. And mind you, he's like 2 years old, barely standing. I'm not even kidding. And he's like, be a man. I'm like, what? The fuck
Oh
is
my
wrong
God.
with you?
That's my dad's favorite line.
Yeah, that's horrible. Like, get over yourselves.
Like my grandpa, so anti-black. Like if people got too tanned,
Jesus.
and it's just like, girl, what the fuck? Like
Yeah.
you're a brown Palestinian refugee who used to eat out of the garbage can.
And yeah, honestly, the things that like our parents and grandparents had to like create these layers of hierarchy to give themselves meaning and power. I mean, my dad did that too with like Shia people. For the longest time, he bought into the propaganda that they're the source of all the issues in the Middle East because it made him feel good to other people. Honestly, I think that's what it is. I think people like the idea that they're morally or just inherently better than someone else
Yeah.
simply because they were, you know what I mean? It makes you feel good. And it's like, ew, that is horrible. That is
This is
literally,
I wish I could talk to my dad right now because I'd love to hear his take on Iran because I remember before he was very hesitant to say he like appreciates Iran for their supportive like resistance.
yeah,
But especially now, like
yeah,
it's like how do you feel about that the out of all the Muslim world,
yeah.
the Shias that you so-called don't even think are real Muslims are the only ones doing anything
Literally.
remotely Islamic.
Literally. And it shouldn't just take that for us to humanize them. Like, it shouldn't
It
be,
shouldn't take this that, but like when it's that fucking
yeah,
obvious,
yeah.
like the version of Islam that you subscribe to fundamentally, like at its core, our leaders, our scholars, our political leaders
Betraying
are fucking
Palestine.
fisting you up the ass,
Yeah,
with no
literally.
lube. Like,
Literally.
you're not even doing it consensually.
Literally.
Maybe that's why you're mad.
No, literally. I think that is on the money. Yeah.
But do oh no, well we kind of covered that. We always like get to the questions. I feel like as we're talking. Uh, how do you feel about going into the back into the closet in certain spaces?
So every time I go back home, I am back in the closet. It used to be, again, this is a really good question because it used to be like maybe 4 years ago, so fucking difficult. Like I used to go back and it used to like trigger all my prior traumas and like it would like set me back so much, like months of therapy where I would need to like dish out how this made me feel and how like again because I wasn't fully convinced in my own self. Whereas now when I go back, it's so much easier because I'm like, all of you are weird and I'm like observing. You know, like to me, it's entertaining. Like if anything, like I remember it was Eid one time and I was back home in the Middle East and I was in like that setting where like, you know how men sit in one side and women will sit in the other. And then just hearing all the men talk, like, wow, the straights are not okay. Like,
What are they talking about?
it was like a lot of politics, but a lot of like they're basically shitty takes, shitty, stupid, dumb takes, like straight man, conservative takes, and I'm just like,
But what
what
a
is that?
straight Middle Eastern man, like what are their political takes?
I'm trying to like let me think of one. Uh, like they want women to go back to being less included, and
My God.
you know what I mean? Like they want like that kind of stuff.
It's literally like here. It's like every other problem, and they're like, it's the immigrants and the trans.
Yeah,
Like, you fucking moron.
yeah, exactly. No, that's exactly it. Where it's just like, really? You really think like they just say things to make themselves feel better? I'm like, you guys are so funny. You're just all lame. That's what it is. You're all lame. Yeah, but so I feel like now it's actually very enjoyable and very easy to do because I don't care what they think or say. I do, however, for my parents' own peace of mind, I'm not like I am back in the closet in all intents and purposes. Like I'm not flaunting my partner. I'm not like talking about my life here, nor do I want them to know. I think that's the difference is that before
Nice to keep it vague when you don't really like a bitch. She was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I'm good."
yeah, life is good, you know, work is good. Yeah, maybe I'll stay a couple more years. Like they love to ask me how much longer are you staying in this
You
state?
say, I don't know.
Yeah, say I don't know, maybe. Did I tell you the story about my uncle who like confronted me about
You
that?
did, yeah.
Yeah, that was so funny. And again, I'm gonna always act ignorant because you can't pin me down. Like you're never gonna make me give you a straight answer on that.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy. It's always easy to just be like, we'll see. Like, I'm just in the moment, you know,
Yeah.
which, I think it's like, I mean, this is tying it back to Islam. And I think all things coming out, prepare for the, prepare for the worst. I feel like don't necessarily hope for the best, but just in every moment, you know, try to observe, try to find the things that make you laugh, a little enjoyment.
Yeah.
And
Do you catastrophize? Like, do you think of the worst case scenario when you go into things?
I struggle with that, yes. But because I'm so used to like always thinking of the worst case scenario, it's kind of like it's like because I expect it. Everything sometimes life feels really good because it usually doesn't happen, and I'm always prepared for the worst case scenario anyway. So then when it does happen, I'm like, yes.
You're right.
But that's also not the best way to live because you do spend a lot of mental thinking over like cycle of thoughts like what if this doesn't happen, what if, and then it's just like wait, that actually didn't even happen anyway, and I just like spent 2 hours being anxious for nothing. And you know, I'm getting better at that, especially with like, you know, with different with when there's when again it's just about having the confidence.
Yeah. You know, I think it's definitely gay. Are you heading out? Okay. Bye. John says hi as well.
Hi John, bye John.
He says hi. Bye. He says hi. Bye. Anyway, I definitely think it's gay Palestinian trauma to start to like get anxious about like analyzing possibilities because I used to do that so
Which is a good
frequently.
skill though, because other people
It has uses.
they're not paying their credit card bills off.
Right.
They're not like, you know, where they're at in their jobs. They're not where they are. They don't have like a good cheap apartment. Like the thing is when you are meticulous and you are when you're planning something that is like pragmatic, material. Like
Yeah.
you coming from uh Bahrain to America, like taking all the exams, studying, this.
Yeah.
Like the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step.
Correct.
Like break everything up into steps and be like, hey, I need to do this. I need to do this. I need to do this.
Right.
But then you also at the same time have to just be like, when you take an exam, you studied, you did your best. It's hard to not be anxious about the results.
Yeah.
But like when you develop a sense of confidence and being like, I know I
did
put it
what I
all out on the floor. I did what I could, and the rest is going to be fate. And just ready to deal with any kind of reality that
Right.
comes next.
Right.
whether it's the next step or reevaluating the
Right.
situation.
Right. Where I think it was maladaptive for me was like when I think about times where I'm like trying to tell my mom something. Like, let's say I'm like, okay, I'm going to tell my mom that I'm going to be living with someone and that this is the reality of the situation. In my head, I'll start like seeing the conversation unfold, kind of like in a video game. You know how where like you
Yeah.
select like the dialogue option,
Yeah.
each one has like a consequence. I'd literally
If she
think of,
says this, I'll say
yeah,
this.
yeah. And I'll think of all the possibilities, and it would take like hours in my head of just like thinking, what is it gonna be like? What's she gonna say? How's she gonna react? Blah, 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 blah. And then my therapist, who finally broke that down, was like, you're trying so hard to control how your mom is gonna react to it.
Yeah.
You need to let that go. You need to
Yeah.
just start thinking about what you need to say for your own, like in a way that makes you feel good. So you still, if you want to respect how your mom feels, that's great. But at the end of the day, when you say what you have to say, she has to
Yeah.
be left to deal with it. You can't like
Yes.
start focusing or controlling how she experiences that.
Yeah. And the thing is, it's also like you have to see your mom as a person who's capable of making her own decisions and taking care of herself.
Right.
Like she had a full on life before you were even a thought in anyone's mind.
Right.
So like devastating news coming from you and changing her whole whatever. Like she has the tools in there, whether she wants to empower herself to reach them or not,
Exactly.
to like handle it. But it's like it's not your problem.
Yeah.
Your therapist is key for that.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Um, do you think speaking of, do you think our families agree with the idea of us being queer or the idea that we no longer belong to them in the way that they hoped?
Oh yeah. If it was up to my mom, I'd be chained to a radiator in a dungeon. I'm not even kidding when I say that. I am not even kidding. Like she would actually prefer I be super safe and unhappy than living my life the way I see fit and her viewing it as like a danger.
Yeah, and I don't understand the it's hard for me to empathize with their feelings that I'm like dead to them or I'm so different because it's like almost insulting because it's like you are so stupid. You just
Very.
didn't pay attention this whole time.
Yeah. Like how did
I
you
was there.
Yeah, how did you not know? In fact, notoriously, one of the things my mom did say when I came out to her was like, "You think you could have been this way and I wouldn't know?" I literally was like, "Girl, yes." And then I like listed off all the times like so, as a kid, like somebody would say something about me in the family, like as like, "Oh, you're being girly" or whatever, and it would like get
Yeah.
to me. I'm like, "No, I have been like this. You can't gaslight me into thinking this is a new development. It's not. I've
They
always."
try to click yeah, exactly. My parents were like, "Oh, you went into the labels." It's like, "No, girl, I remember I was there in my own brain. I loved hanging. I wished I was with all the girl cousins all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
I hated being with the boys."
Yeah.
I remember in kindergarten, like thinking like I don't know what I thought, but I just knew I was like into like I thought boys were cute.
And you know what, also? I'm sure there's a shit ton of personality traits that you have that your mom actually loves. And I
Yeah.
think that's one of the things I tried explaining to my mom. I'm like, the things that you like about me, the fact that I'm sensitive, the fact that I explore my emotions with you and we talk openly and like before, and the fact
Yeah.
that like all these things are because I'm gay. It's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not
As
just
the gay
bad
son,
things.
I was because my parents had a have a restaurant. I ran that place like nobody's business.
I'm
Like,
sure.
it was, like, the busiest day, I was always there because my brother, he just as a straight guy, if someone gets like, as another customer gets angry, he immediately goes to, like, grabbing a baseball bat and, like, escalating threats. My sister, she is too much of a she shuts down. When shit hits the fan, she shuts down. Me, because I'm more aggressive and I'm more, like, able to tell people what to do and be like, this, and this." And I feel like that is, like, gay straight guys can't work in retail, or, like,
Yeah.
straight guys can't work in
Yeah.
retail.
Yeah.
But you see gay people working and shit, and, like, they're organized, they, like, can, like like, there's that sassiness, that,
Yeah.
like, boldness that, was appreciated and,
Yeah.
compensated at certain
Exactly.
points, right?
Exactly. So it's like, hello, you can't just like it is, yeah, who you are they're all intertwined. It's not like being gay is like a chunk of you. It's like, in a way, all of you, but it's not like saying that being gay is all you are. But at the same time, it's like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
And you know what? I wish that because, the fact that they're like grieving us and like they wish that we kind of continued this cycle of trauma is like being queer is what emboldened me to be like a quote unquote cycle breaker. And it would be a lot better if my brother and sister were more in on it. But because again, I don't think they're the happiest people in the world, but
Period.
it's like a cost benefit analysis. What's easier for them to just go with the things that they're already kind of like anyway? Like, okay, well, my sister's like, I like dick anyway. I want to have a baby. So might as well do this thing. Same thing for my brother. He's like, you know, I like women. I want to have a baby. Let me just do this. Even though I know he doesn't necessarily, you know what I mean? He would like to date and explore and be himself and do all those things, but it's just easier to do it their way.
Absolutely.
And that like adds on to the thing. And that's why like it's not going to be that much of a cycle breaking.
Yeah.
Because they're continuing it.
Absolutely. No, you're absolutely right. They are absolutely continuing it. I see it with my sister as well. Even though they're like obviously of a different generation where their minds work differently, but they're buying into the same system that oppressed our parents and now them. And even though, just like you said, it kind of does fit with their thoughts because nothing is forcing them to take risks. Whereas for us, we're forced to like break out and like do something completely different and explore. And in a way, we have a freedom that they are never going to experience. To be able to like choose whatever we want and not like be shackled or chained to like one path. Even if that path to them seems desirable, they don't know any better because they haven't tried anything else.
To every heterosexual, heteronormative, normie person out there, being in proximity to like queer baddies like us is the most alive you're ever gonna be.
Yes.
And that is why you should be great. That's why I have such an ego because I was saying this to someone who listens to the podcast who posted some crazy all lives shit matter in regards to the Middle East. Like, when I speak to you, I'm like saving you. Like I see myself as like it's a privilege, exactly. Like I see you drowning in the ocean. I'm throwing you a life raft.
Yeah.
Don't try to come back and be like, oh, actually this, and this, and this. Like, no. Like you need to, like, I'm not trying to be egotistical, but it's just like
no, absolutely.
There's a certain like resume, there's a certain like experience that it's like when you stand up for yourself, genuinely, like to be Palestinian and be a Palestinian advocate before October 7th means something.
Right.
Like you were doing shit when like no one gave a fuck and the people who did give a fuck were viciously like coming for you.
Right.
Like I had an anti-Semitic scandal before October 7th, not even being anti-Semitic. Like, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like I wear that with a badge of honor. I'm not going to be like humble about it.
Absolutely.
Because I'm not going to say I told you so. I'm going to be like, I have continually, like many other people, I'm not the only person in the world who's like this, but a large minority of us have been continually rightfully guessing all the shit and all the evil in this world. And I feel like rather than like be humble about it, we need to be like, no, like we have the answer.
Yeah. And it's so funny because we were gaslit, at least I was, into thinking that this special talent that we have is actually the opposite, where it was like, thank you, straight people, for still allowing me to be included in your space, even though I'm different. And then now I'm realizing, actually, no, we are in the utopian, like our brains are lit. And it's like you being in our lives is a privilege to you. I fully feel that.
My presence is always a present.
Yeah.
And I'm not sorry about it.
Me neither.
Anyway, yeah, there was this crazy Olive who is a listener in occupied Palestine or was in occupied Palestine. And I was like, girl, why do you listen to this podcast? Like, what world?
What was their take? What did they say?
Just more of like, okay, some progressive Zionists are like, I want liberation, but like I want you to see my trauma too. And it's like, girl, fuck your trauma. And it's like like they talked about their grandfather like dying on October 7th, whether that's true or not true. And I was like, first of all, I don't give a fuck. That's none of my business, not my problem. There's a number of things that could have happened differently that were well within your grandfather's control to make that outcome differently. Number one. Number two, that's Israel's fault. Name the apparatus of Israel. Like,
Right.
don't, especially from a, like, I literally said to this person, I was like, what? Like, you want, you took everything away from Palestinians and you want sympathy?
Right. Right.
Like,
Wait,
literally go jump off a cliff.
and this was a Palestinian living in occupied Palestine.
No,
Oh, this was
not Palestine.
no.
I like, not, maybe Jewish, maybe not Jewish,
Okay.
just like a white person, but they don't live there anymore. And they're like pro liberation, but they're just kind of like bleeding heart for both sides, for all sides.
I see.
You know what I mean? Like, I think they genuinely have good intentions.
Yeah.
Like, there are some rotten people and there's some people with like actually decent intentions. It's just like you're just misinformed and stupid and haven't shaken off your own
Yeah.
propaganda.
Yeah. Your own involvement in the system of oppression.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, okay. Is it fair to expect every queer person to come out? Why or why not?
No, you don't have to come out. I think coming out is stupid anyway. I think you should just do whatever you need to do in the moment. I think there's a concept, like, not to be cheesy as fuck, but like coming in instead of coming out, where you're like coming into yourself. You know, like you have to embody yourself, find God within yourself, like learn how, like a Sufi mentality where you're fully just like find inner peace. I know we've harped on this before, but like the idea that you have to come out to be happy is ridiculous, because that's yet another template that someone else is telling you you have to follow. You know what I mean? Like,
Very well put.
whenever someone's like, you need to do this to be happy, maybe they needed to do that, but that doesn't mean you have to. Like, I think the idea of coming out, like coming to the States and thinking, oh, if I want to be happy, I have to be like all the other gay people. That's absolutely not true.
And that's the thing. Like, never like you like believe that you could be the first one.
Yeah.
Like, not that you will be,
Yeah.
but the thing is, I never listen to anybody who's like, oh, like it's unusual that someone does this or whatever. Like, especially the fact that if you're already in a minority, if you're already in such a statistical improbability of like lottery of birth, why not be like, don't hinge your entire life on the fact that you could win the lottery, but or like other things, you know what I mean? Like, and there's a small chance you'll get into some program that you want to get into. There's a small chance you'll get the visa that you want to get, the apartment, whatever. But like, you can still be like, why not me?
Yeah.
Like, you can have that delusion.
Yeah.
And I think the key is it's like you don't have to come out, but you should always strive for the confidence, like you were saying, very well put, to come into yourself.
Yeah.
Like, always strive for that. Always fight for yourself. And that's a tough one for anyone to give you genuine advice on, because like we talked about at the start of this podcast, like we are two queer Palestinians, but we're two individuals. Like, we are queer Palestinians in our very specific own way.
Right.
And because there's, you know, so many hundreds of thousands of us around, there's that many different ways to be that title, and vice versa with anything that you're doing.
Right. Like Khalil and I's story is very different. Like, so the fact that within our own communities, it's like so different. Like, truly there's no one way. And anyway, I think anything mainstream is kind of lame. And if it's mainstream now, especially in like liberal spaces, to be like out and proud, then kind of avoid doing that.
And okay, last question. What would a truly non-Western version of coming out look like?
Oh, that's gonna need.
Spiritually, in community, politically.
I
I have
think
an answer.
I think my like utopian like idea of what a queer society would be is one where there would never be a coming out. Like, there would just, no one would ask like, oh my God, you like boys? Yay! Like, no,
Yeah.
there just wouldn't be that because who cares if you want to marry the opposite gender or not even like marry, be with whatever the opposite gender or the same gender. It just is what it is. Like there isn't a like a divergence of, oh, okay, you're choosing this path. No, it's all just like whatever, like that would be ideal, but I don't know how or when that would happen.
I think like because there's always like a building towards confidence and the need for labels and the need to make ourselves different and create groups. Like I think that's just like an inherent part of existence. Like I exist, so you exist, and like vice versa. And like we can never all be one because the nature of existence would just change. Not to get too meta on the olive people, but I would envision a more I think again, this is the thing. I think not that life is a movie, but like I feel like there's a growing evil. And over the years, this growing evil has slowly been trying to stamp out everything that's good in the world, from like Turtle Island to like destroying all these like beautiful cultures and languages where they like I'm just vying for like queer people to be worshipped as prophets.
Oh
Like
god,
I
yeah.
think we need to get back into spirituality. Like go find your local trans person and ask them about God.
Yeah.
Go
Because they've experienced
find the
that.
lesbian and go build a cabin with them in the forest.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, but it's like for so like I think it would genuinely work if we like got religious again, but then made it inclusive.
Yeah.
And then made the instead of, making the different people evil, make them divine.
Yeah.
I feel like we would all have such a party because it's like all the fucked up ADHD, neurodivergent, queer, poly, blue-haired weirdos, whatever. The ones that like in society, like mainstream, we make fun of. When you get to know those people, they're the kindest, most intelligent, most like there is such like it is a holiness to behold, like,
Yeah.
when you get to know people like that, like,
Yeah.
and you would be like, "Wow, I wish that if everyone was on board with this and there was some kind of culture that upholded and uplifted this, and you were selected as leader, like, I wish that could happen."
Yeah.
And that could actually happen because you just have to fucking trick people.
Right. It's just about radical acceptance and realizing,
And a culture and religious shift.
yes, and realizing that difference should be celebrated and not ostracized. I mean, it used to be.
Worship.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not even saying celebrate it. I'm saying worship it.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're onto something that you're not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's I think kind of the understanding of indigenous people and how they saw it is like, whoa, this person's able to embody two things at once. Like,
Right.
you're the avatar.
Yeah. I see. Yeah. That's very true. That's very true.
So that would be my non-Western coming out world.
That would be.
And you know what? While we're on summer break, Olives, let's work on this.
Yes.
Think about it.
By the time we
Marinate
come
in
back,
that.
by the time we come back, that world better be a reality, or you're failing your test.
Test. Period.
Yeah, this has been a very fun experience the past couple of months, and we're excited to have taken this journey with you all. And honestly, we're impressed by how big the community was. Like, I don't think I expected a lot of people to watch, but a ton of you are, so it's pretty cool.
I had all the confidence that I would get some shit to go a little viral. If you look at our socials, they're not doing too shabby.
Yeah.
And neither are the streams. So thank you for showing out. It's so cute to receive little messages about how this podcast makes people feel, whether it's good, whether it's bad. I feel like me personally, I've grown in making this podcast. Like coming into it, I really felt more. It's like a developing of confidence. I developed confidence,
Yeah.
essentially. And to put everything I was gonna say into one word, I developed a lot of confidence because of this podcast. So, thank you.
Thank you guys. And on that note, have a wonderful week, month, year.
Enjoy your summer. You'll see us hopefully in September-ish.
You'll see us when you see us.
Well, I'm aiming for September. Hashtag Ali, don't be lazy. You know, not to be too much, but all you have to do is come sit down for an hour.
That's true. That's literally all I have to do. I literally do nothing else. So yeah, yeah, I can't complain. Yalla, see you guys. Bye.